Sam got truth. They asked her to describe me in one word. She laughed carelessly. Housekeeper, I guess. Her friends erupted in suggestive catcalls. I slipped out of the party and took a cab to Sam's place. I cut the cord to her air conditioner and poured superglue all over her bed. Then I blocked her on everything and just disappeared. A year later, I saw Sam on TV. When asked about her first love, she seemed to drift off for a moment. We were young and reckless. If I could turn back time, I'd give anything to see him again. Just then, my boss walked in. Jordan, about that tax evasion investigation at the Brook Group, you in? I nodded firmly. I'm in. When I got back from paying the bill, the private room was in the middle of a game of truth or dare. It was Sam's turn. She chose truth. Her best friend clung to her arm, asking in a syrupy voice, Sam, describe your boyfriend in one word. It was my 1-year anniversary with Sam. It was also the first time she was going to acknowledge me as her boyfriend in front of everyone. My hand, about to push open the door, froze. I stood there silently, holding my breath. Handsome? Hot? Charming? I knew I was average looking, but a person isn't just their appearance. There's inner beauty too. I was athletic, a great cook, neat, and organized. Optimistic, sweet, fun. I would have been fine with any of those. I even started to get excited, wondering what she'd say. What did she really think of me? The room went quiet. Then came Sam's nonchalant voice. Housekeeper, I guess. The words hung in the air for a second before the room exploded with laughter. The one laughing the loudest was Jackson, Sam's childhood friend. Everyone was winking and nudging each other, and all sorts of dirty jokes started flying around. After she'd had her laugh, Sam's friend poked her and whined, Aren't you going to say something? Listen to the nasty stuff they're saying. Sam, who had been enjoying the show while swirling her drink, finally spoke up lazily. All right, what are you all imagining? I just meant he's good with his hands, cooking, cleaning, he can do it all. That's what I mean by capable. The fist I'd clenched loosened a little. I was about to go in when I heard her continue. As for the other way he's capable, what, you want me to have him come in here and give you a live demonstration? Another, louder wave of laughter rolled through the room, punctuated by cheers and whistles. The atmosphere was electric with vulgar jokes, and I just stood outside the door, completely frozen. The first time Sam and I met, I was at my absolute lowest. I had just come from my small town to the city for college. I was wearing scuffed-up sneakers, carrying a cheap, woven plastic bag, and I stuck out like a sore thumb. I stood at the subway entrance, trying to discreetly watch how other people used the machines. That's when Sam showed up. She had a beautiful smile, showing a perfect set of white teeth. She helped me carry my bag, taught me how to ride the subway, and even walked me to the university. That's when I found out she was a year ahead of me. She even bought me my first boba. When she was leaving, I smoothed out the crumpled bills I had, ran over, and stuffed them into her hand. Sam paused for a second, then saw my awkward expression and just smiled, waved, and said goodbye. She walked away so effortlessly, she never even noticed. A little seed of a teenage crush had been planted right there in her smile. I chased Sam for a long time before she finally agreed to go out with me. But she had one condition. We had to keep our relationship a secret. And today was our 1-year anniversary. The day Sam had finally agreed to go public. I had booked the private room early, bought a new suit, and spent the whole day getting ready. And on this day I'd been looking forward to so much, I got called a housekeeper. The waiter bringing drinks to the room saw me in the corner and jumped. He looked at my pale face and asked if I needed help. I shook my head and went to the front desk. Excuse me, can I get a refund for the bill I just paid? I glanced back at the room and added, and I'd like to add 10 bottles of your best Macallan to their tab. To go. Carrying the scotch was, honestly, a little heavy. I found a random liquor store down the street and sold the bottles on the spot. With the cash in my pocket, I hailed a cab and went straight to Sam's apartment. The moment I walked in, I felt a wave of dizziness as all the memories flooded back. Sam and I were from 2 different worlds. Just 2 months after I started pursuing her, I heard the rumors. People made fun of my looks and my clothes, saying I was a frog trying to kiss a princess. I overheard her friend joking with her. See? You help one little country bumpkin and now he's stuck to you. What bad luck. I looked down at my own outdated clothes and decided right then that I had to change. With my roommate's help, I started learning about skincare and how to dress well. My family wasn't actually poor, we owned dozens of cows and sheep. But growing up with my grandma in a tiny town, I'd never seen a big city. I could understand why Sam's friends looked down on me. But at the time, Sam didn't say anything, so I assumed she didn't agree with them. Took me a long time to understand. Her friend's attitude toward me was a reflection of her own. If someone truly respects and values you, the people around them won't dare to make you the butt of their jokes. By my sophomore year, I changed a lot. The same girls who used to laugh at me would now blush when they saw me. On the first day of the semester, Sam stared at me for a long time, stunned. When I asked her out again, she said yes. That night, I went back to my dorm, too excited to sleep. My roommates were happy for me, but not because I had a girlfriend. They were happy because I had finally found my confidence. Leo, one of them said, I hope you know you're the prize here. You deserve someone who loves you for you. At that moment, I felt like the luckiest guy in the world. School was going well, I had great roommates, and I'd made a lot of friends. And the girl I'd had a crush on for so long was finally mine. That night, I called my grandma, and she asked if I had a girlfriend. I rolled around in bed, blushing as I nodded. Yeah. I'll bring her home to meet you this summer. Sam bought a condo near campus. After we started dating, she often asked me to come over. Every day after class, I'd go there to cook for her, do her laundry, and clean the apartment. I even had to wash her 2 cars, which always left my back aching. One night, it started pouring rain after I'd finished making dinner. I didn't have an umbrella, so I asked if I could stay the night. Sam's place was a 3-bedroom. I figured I could just sleep in a guest room. But Sam said no. She looked me up and down, her voice soft but sharp. Leo, don't tell me you're planning to sneak into my bed tonight. A little self-respect, please. That night, I walked back to campus in the downpour. The next day, I had a high fever. I never asked to stay over again. Thinking about it now, Sam was kind of right. What kind of boyfriend ends up like me? I was just a housekeeper. No, that's not right. A housekeeper gets paid and has their own room. I was less than a housekeeper. I was free labor, the kind that practically begged for the job. I took down the framed photo of us from the living room wall. I tore off my half and kept it, then ripped her half into tiny pieces and flushed them down the toilet. It's funny, really. I was the one who insisted on hanging that picture. But every time Sam's friends came over, I had to take it down and hide it away. Like a rat, hiding in the shadows, afraid of the light. I took out a pair of scissors and cut the cords for the air conditioner, the TV, and the internet. Then, I went to the kitchen, grabbed a bottle of chili oil, and poured it all over the dishes in the cabinet. I found some spoiled milk and old fruit in the fridge and tossed them under the sofa. I also found all the underwear in her dresser and cut a hole in every single pair. I used her toothbrush to scrub the toilet, then put it right back where I found it. I thought for a moment, then went downstairs and bought a tube of colorless superglue. I hummed a happy tune as I spread it all over her bedsheets. By the time I had thoroughly trashed the entire apartment, an hour had passed. I nodded, satisfied. Before I left, I grabbed all of her car keys and took them with me. Just as I was walking out of the complex, I got a call from Sam. She sounded annoyed. Where did you go? Everyone's waiting for you, you know. Having let off some steam, I was actually in the mood to joke with her. Yes, maybe I'm at your place? There was a pause. Then her voice turned icy. That's not funny, Leo. I didn't say anything. It seemed like she finally realized something was wrong, because for the first time ever, she softened her tone. Are you still mad about Caden? I told you we were just playing a game. Caden, her male bestie. Caden. She said his name so sweetly. No, it's fine. If you guys like playing games so much, you should play some more. Caden had lost a round of truth or dare and had to sit on someone's lap. He looked at Sam, and she knew exactly what he wanted, pulling him right into her arms. Everyone was laughing. My face was the only one that was dark. I left the room to pay the bill, planning to make an excuse and leave. But that's when I overheard Sam's careless housekeeper comment from the doorway. She told me to have self-respect, yet she turned me into a laughingstock in front of her friends. She let them make dirty jokes about me, let them speculate about us. I'd never been in a relationship before, but I knew this wasn't love. I couldn't believe she would ever do something like that to her precious Caden. Leo, are you serious? Sam's voice was tinged with anger now, accusing me of being unreasonable. You wanted to go public, so I did. I made the post on my feed. What more do you want? The social media post. That made me want to laugh. After we started dating, Sam refused to make it public. She said she didn't want us to become gossip for other people. But on Valentine's Day, Sam posted a solo picture with the caption, "Happy to be single." My roommates saw it and were furious. They all wanted to go give her a piece of their mind. I calmed them down while texting Sam to ask what was going on. Her reply was simple. "I told you going public is a hassle. If you keep making a scene, we're done." So I backed down. I was so naive back then, thinking that as long as two people loved each other, nothing else mattered. Posting on social media, going public, it was all superficial. Our relationship was between us. Who cared if anyone else knew? Then Sam started posting pictures of her and Caden hanging out. They were wearing matching outfits, taking all sorts of intimate vacation photos. Everyone thought they were a couple, and Sam never once denied it. I finally couldn't take it anymore, and we had our first real fight. Sam just kept playing her game, indifferent to my rage. "Keep it up and we're breaking up," she said coolly. That time, I was silent for a long moment before I said, "Fine, let's break up." After we broke up, my eyes were red and puffy, but I forced myself to go to class. I stopped bringing Sam food and gifts. Whenever I saw her, I treated her like a stranger. 2 weeks later, I was volunteering at a school basketball tournament. Sam's team won first place. I silently handed them their water bottles and was about to turn away, but Sam called out to me. She walked around in front of me, looked up, and smiled. "What, still mad? You know, I only joined this tournament because I heard you were volunteering." Sam showed me her phone. All the posts about Caden on her feed were gone. She gave me a key and said I could come and go from her place whenever I wanted. That day, Sam stayed and helped me clean up the basketball court. She wouldn't let me lift a finger, running back and forth to put all the equipment away herself. I watched her, her head covered in sweat, and it was like that first day all over again, when she helped me with my cheap plastic bag. Coming from a small town to the big city, I'd endured countless strange looks. Only Sam hadn't looked down on me for my ignorance or sneered at my dirty luggage. So my heart softened, and I agreed to get back together with her. The next time I went to her apartment, the first thing I saw was a floor covered in takeout containers and trash. Thinking about it now, it wasn't that Sam had realized she was in love with me. It was that she suddenly realized she'd have to pay for a housekeeper. So she came back for me, broke a little sweat, and I melted. That's why she brought me back to her place the very first day we got back together. I spent the entire day cleaning before the apartment was even remotely livable. Looking back on it all, I feel like I was under some kind of spell. After all that condescension and hurt, how could I have ever thought Sam loved me? I cursed myself for being an idiot, but that didn't feel right. So, I got on the phone and, without pausing, called Sam a fucking bitch 10 times. Then I blocked her number and all her social media. I stood outside her apartment complex for a long time, so long that passersby started giving me strange looks. My best friend, Miles, called me, excitedly asking me to video chat so he could show me his new sneakers. I told him I was out and it wasn't a good time, that I'd call him back later. Miles's excited voice trailed off. After a moment he asked cautiously, "Leo, what's wrong? You sound down." From the moment I left that private room to the moment I trashed Sam's apartment, I'd been completely calm. I could even joke around and curse her out. But hearing Miles's simple question, I felt a lump form in my throat. I wiped my face with my hand and felt the cold sting of tears. "It's nothing. I just had a revelation," I said, trying to sound casual as I stared up at the sky. "Hooray for being single. Hooray for freedom. Sam, when the hurt you caused me finally overshadowed the crush I had on you, that's when I stopped loving you. I started loving myself more. A year later, I passed the civil service exam and landed a great government job. I never went to any of the post-graduation reunions, but Miles would occasionally bring things up in conversation. Hey Leo, you remember Jackson? Sam's childhood friend. Miles paused, realizing what he'd said, and glanced at my face. When he saw that I didn't seem to care, he relaxed and continued with the gossip. His family arranged a marriage for him right after graduation. But get this, he got busted at a massage parlor a few days ago. And it was during a police raid. You know what one of the cops said? The cop said, "How come every time we raid this place, you're here?" Miles was laughing so hard he could barely stand, and I had to hold him up. Jackson was the wildest of Sam's friends. He was also the one who made the crudest jokes at my expense. I should have known then. If Sam was close with a guy like Jackson, what kind of innocent person could she be? She probably didn't want to go public with me because she was afraid I'd cramp her style. I needed to find a file, so I booted up my old phone. Strangely enough, the number, which I hadn't used in a year, still had service. I opened my text messages and saw nearly 1,000 unread messages. Most of them were from an unknown number. I scrolled through them and knew right away. They were from Sam. At first, they were cold and mocking, saying things like if I ever came crawling back, she wouldn't give me the time of day. A month later, her tone softened. She said if I came back, she'd forgive me. 2 months later, she sounded anxious, constantly asking if something had happened to me. The most recent message was from 3 days ago. It was just 4 words. I regret it. I read a few and then stopped. After finding the file I needed, I shut down the phone and tossed it in a corner. I could never figure Sam out, and I no longer wanted to. The next day at work, I accidentally clicked on a news headline. An interview popped up on my screen. I froze. The person on the screen was Sam. She was wearing a tailored women's suit, her long hair pulled back. She looked like a high-powered executive. Well, I always said we were from 2 different worlds. I came from a small town. She was born the heiress to the Brooke fortune. The interview seemed to be winding down, and the atmosphere was more relaxed. An audience member asked Sam what her impression of her first love was. Sam, who had been in complete control, seemed to lose her focus for a moment. She looked at the camera and said, "If I had to say, it would be regret. We were young and reckless. If I could turn back time, I'd give anything to see him again." I closed the video without watching the rest. Just then, my boss walked in and asked Jordan about that tax evasion investigation at the Brooke Group we talked about last week. You in? I nodded firmly. I'm in. It wasn't until I arrived on site that I realized. The Brooke in Brooke Group was Sam's Brooke. As I stood there by the entrance, lost in thought, someone shoved me. "Everybody move, the big boss is here." I looked up to see the crowd parting. A black car pulled up to the curb, and 2 bodyguards got out first. Then, a pair of legs emerged, belonging to Sam in her business suit. The weather was hot, and she looked impatient, striding quickly toward the building. I was staring at her and didn't notice a man bump into me. "Hey, my coffee!" the man yelled, grabbing my arm to stop me from leaving. "You're paying for my coffee." I frowned. The guy had clearly walked right into me, but he was trying to pin the blame on me. A cup of coffee isn't much, but I wasn't going to let him get away with it. As we were arguing, a trembling voice cut in. "Leo? Is that you, Leo Jordan?" I turned and came face to face with Sam's stunned expression. When she saw me looking at her, she tried to smile, but her lips wouldn't cooperate. After a few failed attempts, Sam's mouth settled into a thin line. She took off her watch, shoved it at the man, told him to get lost, and then started walking toward me, 1 step at a time. We finally stood face to face. Sam's breathing hitched. "Long time no see." I looked her up and down. A year apart, and she seemed more mature. The sharp edges in her eyes softened. She seemed calmer, too. I honestly thought that if she ever saw me again, she'd call the cops and have me arrested. The air was thick with silence. Sam's voice was hoarse. Where did you go? I texted you. Why didn't you answer me?" I didn't say anything. Just then, my colleague arrived, walking quickly over to me. Sensing the weird vibe between us, he scratched his head. You two know each other? Sam seemed to snap back to reality and gave my colleague a distant nod. He shook her hand. Hello, Ms. Brooke. We're here specifically to see you today. Sam's eyes lit up, and she whipped her head toward me, a hopeful look on her face. You're here for me? I knew you. As Sam reached for me again, I took a slight step back. Yes, I'm here specifically to see you. I pulled out my badge and gave Sam a small smile. Ms. Brooke, we've received a report alleging tax evasion at the Brooke Group. We need you to cooperate with our investigation. In the office, Sam's face was grim. Her eyes were locked on me, practically shooting flames. I paid her no mind, flipping through the documents her secretary brought in. Just then, the door was pushed open, and a loud voice boomed. Sam, I need to borrow some cash. My wife's got me on a tight leash. Jackson walked in and froze when he saw us. Then his eyes focused on my face, and a look of recognition, followed by contempt, spread across it. TSK, if it isn't Sam's ex-boyfriend. He paused, then amended, wait, is it ex-boyfriend? What, you regret leaving and came crawling back? He grinned, his eyes raking over my face and my clothes without any shame. Jackson, watch your mouth. Sam's warning was cold. Jackson shot her a look and pouted, but didn't say anything else. Thinking back, in the 4 years I'd known Sam, this was the first time she had ever defended me when her friends were making fun of me. A shame, really. I didn't get it when I needed it, and I certainly didn't need it now. I put down the file and gave Jackson the same dismissive, head-to-toe once-over, then scoffed. Long time no see. You haven't changed a bit. Jackson was about to reply, but I kept going. I thought they'd keep you locked up a few more days after that raid. Guess you got out early. Jackson's face was already turning dark. I feigned a sudden realization, pointing at Sam. No wonder you have to borrow money. Can't even afford to pay your fines. My gaze shifted back to Jackson, my voice flat. Oh, looks like things haven't been going so well for you these last few years. Jackson was furious. Sam had to hold him back to keep him from lunging at me. I calmly went back to reading the file, not even bothering to look up. Right after Jackson, someone else walked in. I glanced up. Great, another familiar face. Sam's bestie, Caden. He was impeccably dressed, his chin held high. But the moment he saw Sam, his expression melted into one of fawning adoration. Jackson's face lit up. Caden, you're finally here. It was as if he'd just found a weapon to use against me. He shot me a provocative look. Leo, I have never seen anyone as shameless as you. It's been forever since you broke up. Are you still trying to cling to Sam? Caden put on a look of magnanimous understanding. Bro, I know you can't let go of the past, but you're making things really difficult for Sam. We're about to get engaged. You don't want to be the other man, do you? So, just as I'd thought, Sam got with Caden right after we broke up. I wasn't surprised at all. The two of them worked in tandem, painting me as the pathetic ex who was desperately trying to get back with her. Sam stood by and said nothing, only speaking up to stop Caden when his insults became too vile. That's enough, Caden. She looked at me then. Leo, I can let the past go, but you have to tell me why you left back then. It was the first time I'd ever heard Sam call me Leo. Couldn't help but frown. Jackson was the first to object, yelling, why should you let it go? Do you remember what he did to your apartment? You were covered in glue. You were in the hospital for 2 weeks. How can you just let that slide? Caden chimed in, exactly. I had no idea you were so vicious. You have to pay for what you did. I turned to Sam and asked, you want to settle the score? Sam seemed to have regained the confidence she always had around me, tilting her chin up slightly. It's not about that. I don't care about the money, but you can apologize to me. I nodded in understanding. Fine then, let's start calculating. Sam stared at me. Calculate what? I just said I'd let it go. I opened the calculator app on my phone. My bill. Based on current market rates, a private chef costs about $8,000 a month. Housekeeping, let's say $6,000. Car detailing is $100 per wash, 2 cars, twice a week. That's about $1,600 a month. Throw in another $2,000 for benefits, and that's 17,600 a month. We were dating for 1 year, 12 months. That comes to a grand total of 211,200. I'll do you a favor and round it up. You owe me 220,000. I held my hand out to Sam and asked politely, Venmo or Zelle? Sam was so angry she couldn't speak. I raised an eyebrow, wondering aloud if she was that broke now. She took a deep breath and, with a thunderous look on her face, scanned my QR code. Jackson and Caden stood by, completely dumbfounded. Jackson was the first to recover. So you heard what we were saying that day. I turned to him, my voice light. Yep, and you call yourselves rich people, but you stiff your housekeeper on his wages. I looked at Sam and Caden, my voice dripping with disdain. Now that's what I call shameless. Caden's eyes blazed with anger. He acted as if he were already married to Sam, with a strange sense of ownership over her money. He lunged at me, his hand raised to slap me, screaming that I was a bitch. I dodged easily. He stumbled from his own momentum and fell to the floor, yelping in pain. Don't worry, I said. Your turn is coming. I took out my phone, stopped the recording, and made a call. Hello, 911? I'd like to report a crime. I smiled at Caden and Jackson. Someone is obstructing a federal investigation and has verbally and physically assaulted a federal officer. I'd like to press full criminal charges, and I will not be accepting any mediation. The news that Caden, a rising star, had been arrested in public immediately went viral. I didn't hold back. I released the full video of his hysterical, profanity-laced tirade. Caden's public image shattered instantly, causing a massive scandal. The brands he endorsed quickly dropped him and demanded he pay for breach of contract. The shows and series he had appeared in were pulled, and the production companies sued him for damages. The Brook Group's stock price plummeted, losing billions in a single day. The verdicts for Sam and Caden came down quickly. Both were ordered to pay massive fines and serve prison time. Before she was taken away, Sam's only request was to see me one last time. I sat across from her, not wanting to spend a second longer with her than I had to. What do you want to say? Make it quick. Sam looked down, and for a long time she said nothing. Her first words were an apology. I know I did a lot of wrong things back then. No amount of sorries can fix it, but I still want to apologize. Sam looked at me, her eyes red. I really did like you. I just didn't understand it then. You chased me for so long. I really thought you would never leave me, no matter what I did. That's why I was so reckless. After you left, I was in so much pain. I asked so many people, but no one knew where you were. I had to drink myself to sleep every night. And I wasn't getting engaged to Caden. He was lying to you. I didn't correct him because I wanted to see if you would get jealous. The look in Sam's eyes was one of pure agony. She stared at me, her voice trembling. Can we start over? When I get out, you can get back at me however you want. Just don't ignore me. I glanced at my watch. I had another half hour before my appointment. Plenty of time. Might as well set the record straight. I looked into Sam's hopeful eyes and asked softly, Do you know why I liked you? Sam hesitated, then said uncertainly, My looks? My family? I shook my head. Because on the first day of school, you were the first person to help me with my luggage and show me how to ride the subway. Sam's eyes widened in disbelief. Just for that? I nodded. Someone like her, who grew up in a bustling city, took everything for granted. The environment she grew up in, the constant praise, had shaped her into a confident, flashy person. She could never understand the helplessness of a boy from a small town seeing a subway for the first time. She would never know how many people had looked at me and my cheap bag with disgust, as if I were dirty and in their way. I didn't belong in that city, and Sam was the first person to offer me a helping hand. I stared at Sam's stunned face, my voice quiet. But the person who really helped me that day, it wasn't you, was it? If I had been a little older, if I had met a few more people, I might have easily seen the disgust in Sam's eyes that day. She smiled as she taught me how to use the subway, but she stayed a good 3 feet away from me, unwilling to touch me. I only saw her helping me with my bag. I didn't see her tightly furrowed brow. When I gave her the money for the boba, I only saw her smile. I didn't see her turn around and throw the money on the ground as soon as she was out of sight. In those chat logs, this is how she described that day. So annoying. Where did that hick come from? He was so filthy I had to take 3 showers when I got home. This school will really let in any trash. Country folk should just stay in the country for their whole lives. Later at work I met Tina Lynn. A beautiful, sweet girl with a lively personality. The first time she saw me, she cried out in surprise. "Oh, it's you." I stood there, frozen, certain I had never met this girl before in my life. Tina grinned and linked her arm through mine. "I know you. We went to the same school. You're amazing. You won a scholarship every year." Later, after we got to know each other better, Tina told me with a wink. The first time she saw me was actually at the subway station. "I saw you standing there for a long time. It looked like you were in some kind of trouble. But I was in a hurry to catch a flight, so I asked Sam to help you. She'd had a fight with her family and was there asking me for money. She really didn't want to do it. I had to ask her 3 times. In the end, I had to promise to forgive her debt before she reluctantly agreed to help you. Sam and I have known each other since we were kids, but I don't like her or her friends, so we were never close. I wasn't going to lend her the money at first. I was silent for a long time before I asked quietly, "Then, why did you want to help me?" Tina had a beautiful smile. She looked surprised by my question. "Does there have to be a reason? Besides, if I hadn't done something, you would have waited a little longer and someone else would have helped you." Tina gently brushed the hair from my face, turning to look me in the eyes. "The first thing I noticed was that you have really nice eyes. See, you even have a little beauty mark right there. That's why I recognized you the second I saw you again. Leo Jordan, seeing you again must be fate. Do you want to be friends?" I said yes, and Tina became a wonderful friend. Really, I should have known all along. A person's true nature doesn't change. How could Sam have gone from being friendly and generous at the beginning to so flippant and cruel? They were polar opposites, like 2 different people. Unless, back when we first met, helping me was never her idea to begin with. I stood up to leave, but she called my name again. I turned back. Sam was just looking at me. I thought she was going to say something else, but she just stared. Just as I was starting to get impatient, Sam lowered her eyes. She said softly, "Happy birthday." I gave her one last look, said nothing, and walked away. As soon as I was outside, Miles was already calling. "Leo, are you on your way?" I checked the time. "Almost. You can go ahead and order. I'll be there in 15 minutes. Tops." I could hear laughter in the background before someone shushed them. I hung up and hailed a cab to the restaurant. When I got out, as I walked toward the entrance, I could faintly hear the sounds of people setting up inside. I called Miles. "I'm at the door." A moment later, Miles came rushing out, looking flustered. He saw me and pointed to a shop next door. "Oh man, I'm suddenly craving ice cream. Leo, come with me." I followed him obediently. I pretended not to notice the piece of shiny ribbon stuck in his hair. When we got back with the ice cream, I pushed open the door to the private room. It was completely dark inside. But then, the lights flickered on, and everyone started singing happy birthday. The room was beautifully decorated, and a large cake was being carefully wheeled out. "Happy birthday, Leo. Another year older, woohoo. Quick, blow out the candles. Make a wish. Make 10 wishes." My friends surrounded me, put a birthday hat on my head, and sat me down in the center. My college roommates were there, my lifelong best friend Miles was there, and my new friend from work, Tina, was there. Everyone was smiling and laughing, telling me to hurry up and make a wish so we could eat cake. I closed my eyes, my heart filled with a gentle warmth. I quietly made a wish. Tina squeezed in next to me and, in a perfect imitation, closed her eyes too. "Then I'll make a wish too. I wish for Leo's wish to come true perfectly." Hearing that, the others protested that it wasn't fair and started making the same wish. The room was filled with the happy noise of friends teasing and playing with each other. A smile crept onto my face. I thought of what my roommate had told me all those years ago. "Leo, I hope you know you're the prize here. You deserve someone who loves you for you." And right at that moment, the song playing in the background hit its crescendo. "The world is full of beauty, My love is a fire for the taking. It's not about you, it's all about me, so don't be mistaken. I will surely bloom. I will surely shine. A beautiful sight in the making. So when I opened my eyes again, what I saw was a wide open field of possibilities. I will become better, and I will welcome a better future. One where I can finally, brilliantly bloom. As for the past, it's not even worth mentioning.